at the chop shop. Back at it. Now we're gonna see. There we go. There we go. Now what I'm doing right now, I'm popping one of them willies, as I told you guys back in the past. Popping a quick willie. And hold on 1 second. 1 second. What we do is, let me see. Let me see, Heather. We're gonna go like this.
How are you going to be on the stage? How are you going to get from off the bench to on the floor? If you love basketball, you got to be passionate about what you do. You can't just play just to play.
Yeah, that's what I did so I can move the camera. The camera had me looking up in the air. So I'm trying to...
If you really want it, you'll need to make sacrifices. You'll face doubt. You will fail. Whether or not you succeed, that choice is yours.
Yeah, I see it. And I brought it back to myself. What I mashed that one in the middle, right? Yeah, you got the camera, you got the film. Which one to bring me back? Okay. I see what happened. Yeah, we back at it, guys, in the chop shop. Your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. That's what it is. It was the regular camera. Now you guys can hear us. Let me fix this so that I can get my volume. Can you guys hear me? There we go. Yeah, let me know if you guys can hear me.
I can hear you, Jimmy. You good? You got to hear. I'm looking at it on my iPad.
Okay, we're good to go. Let's get this thing popping. Let me pull up my YouTube for you YouTubers. Let me pull up my Facebook for you Facebookers, and that way I can see some of the comments as they're coming in with you guys. And there we are. It say Hatter is bad, but you good. I see now. Let's talk. We talked about Yates and Fur last night, and for which Fur picked up the good win. Shout out to them. Great on that. Tonight, there are a couple of games around the area that deserve attention. And first, of course, I know Doug Jones is going to be down in Silsbee, right? Once again, Doug Jones will be in Silsbee for the Lufkin and Silsbee game. And Lufkin is undefeated. They're 10-0. They're playing at Silsbee. That's a 6 p.m. tip-off. Also, Ridge Point plays at Clear Falls. I like this game. Matter of fact, you guys might as well share the show right now. Let's get a good share in right now. And reason why is because I'm gonna tell you why this game is so intriguing tonight between Ridge Point and Clear Falls. This is one of those put ups or shut ups games. Melvin Dews says Silsbee by 19. I don't know, Melvin Dews. Silsbee, Lufkin has some quality wins under their belt. They beat Westbrook. They beat College Park. Just to name a couple. They got some solid wins. I can't see Silsbee winning by 19. I see this being really close because I don't know if Silsbee going to get themselves motivated for Lufkin. You know? And that's the ticket on that. That's the ticket. But Hampshire, Fournette, and Harden Jefferson at 5:30 on Friday. We talking about tonight, man. Come on, Ardoin. Talking about tonight. Now, Ridge Point and Clear Falls. This is the game. I might just roll up to that game tonight. Now, even though I just saw Ridge Point play against Marshall 2 weeks ago, and they've played again since then. And in that game, I saw Marshall came out with the win, pulled it off in the fourth quarter. But Ridge Point features T.J. Ford Jr., right? Clear Falls features Orlando Harden Jr. The Battle of the Juniors is tonight. Go. Matter of fact, share the show, guys. Get the share in. Let me tell you what in the magazine, Orlando Harden Jr. is ranked number 10 in the class of 2023. They're both in 11th grade. T.J. Ford Jr. is ranked number 22. However, T.J. Ford Jr. is coming off of a redemption game for which Ridge Point pulled off a huge win over Thurgood Marshall last week in the Fort Bend ISD tournament. That's the game that Jalen Lowe suffered a leg injury minutes into the fourth quarter. However, I think Archie was present at that game, and he gave me the recap. Said Ridge Point was up by 5 points at the time that Jalen Lowe got hurt. As far as in the scoring column, both T.J. Ford Jr. and Jalen Lowe was probably pretty much had leveled off and canceled each other out as far as points at that time. But Ridge Point ended up getting the win. But so people from Marshall say, well, man, Jalen Lowe lost. That's how they lost the game. No. They were losing already in the fourth quarter before Jalen Lowe went down. You got to give credit where credit is due. Credit goes to T.J. Ford Jr. and his teammates. Conley Christmas. Can't forget him. Already had a masterful game as well. And so now, if T.J. Ford, understand something. Orlando Harden Jr., he feels he's ranked too low at number 10. Now, he's the shortest person to be in the top 10 this year, easily, right? Well, not easily, because Smurf Melander is in that top 10 as well. Well, guess what? This is one of those games. T.J. Ford Jr. feels he's ranked too low, especially after the recent game and the recent win against Thurgood Marshall. So this is what this game does tonight. One of y'all will be able, or possibly both of you guys, can be able to prove your case against another opponent who's pretty much the same size. We're going to see a lot from this game tonight. That's 7 p.m. at Clear Falls High School. Clear Falls just won a tournament this past weekend, which great scheduling. Sometimes certain tournaments are the right tournaments to get in. In other words, if Clear Falls would have played in the Cypress Hoops tournament, it's not likely they would have won that tournament. You go and you play, you schedule your teams to play in events that's going to keep them on the uptick. Some guys out there, we just want to play the best. We want to play the best. But they don't tell you those horror stories. Playing the best can mess around and get your team broken up spiritually, mentally, and in some cases physically. And I see you, Marlon Bendy. He says that Lufkin and Silsby is going to be a great game. It will be televised. Broadcast on the Tiger Nation. No commentary, but it'll be there if you get a chance to peek into the game. And Herb, I don't know if Smurf is 6 foot. I'm not gonna go there, because that means you're saying that if he stood side by side with me, he would be his shoulder's length, or he would be the equivalent. I'm not willing to go on that ledge. Other games tonight, LaPorte at Friendswood. That's going to be a pretty good game as well. LaPorte should win that game. I have my projections on rcssports.com, right? Cy Creek and Cy Falls. I think Jeffrey Day may be at that game tonight. Cy Falls, they're coming off making it to the championship of the Cypress Hoops tournament. They lost by a single possession to eventual champion McKinney High School. This Cy Falls team is they're galvanizing at just the right time, and which is kind of cool. Uh, Hitchcock and Lamarck, that's a territorial game. Those two towns are right adjacent to each other. Remember, Hitchcock, their seventh graders won the middle school championships 2 years ago. So those guys are in the ninth grade now. Mind you, Thurgood, remember, Marshall out of Beaumont won it last year when they were in the eighth grade. But that Hitchcock team, those guys that whooped everybody's butt in the middle school championship in the seventh graders, in the seventh grade division, they're in the ninth grade. So Hitchcock is solid right now. They have a winning record. Next year they're going to be good. But that year after that, when them kids get into the 11th grade, that's when you should expect big things from Hitchcock High School. And yeah, Marlon Branch say Silsby has a big test. They go to Dallas. Silsby go to Dallas pretty much every year after the Christmas break. And that tournament up there is pretty much a booby trap for Silsby in most cases, in most years. Speaking of high school basketball, you can get the rest of today's games to see, right, on rcssports.com. You go to RCS Sports, and you guys will be able to see and check out all of the games around the area, and also with our projections. If you know, we have the projections on there as well. What else we want to give you guys? This one also, in case you missed it yesterday, the hearing for the Duncanville star player Anthony Black took place yesterday via Zoom. It was a Zoom hearing because of the COVID. A lot of court, and the geographics from the people in different cities. They just did a Zoom hearing, which is smart and is more economical. Well, the judge heard both sides presented their claims, and instead of making a ruling on yesterday, she decided to take a couple of days to sift through the evidence and to just make sure that her decision is the right one. And so we can expect a decision really soon, in a matter of days. How soon? I think I elaborate on that this morning if you go into the VIP news on rcssports.com, and you will get that and a lot more. Also, we got good stuff to talk about. Now, mind you, Anthony Black has played about 9 games with Duncanville. If the ruling goes in favor of the UIL, right? Right now they had a temporary restraining order, and the temporary restraining order is seeking an injunction, a temporary injunction, which could possibly let them play the rest of the season. So that's what's at stake right now. If the judge rules in favor of the UIL, then Duncanville could possibly forfeit all games for which Anthony Black played in, which would be 9 games. And if that happens, this means Duncanville will still be the favorite to go to state from out of Region 2. Let's not get that twisted. And that's depending on, mind you, Duncanville has played the past week without starting point guard C.J. Ford. So C.J. Ford, who's committed to Northern Illinois, he signed with Northern Illinois. Tripping. Northern Arizona. They're without him, and they still don't know how long he's going to be out. It's an ongoing injury that could I mean, worst case scenario, he could miss the rest of the season. I don't see that happening, because if the injury requires surgery, then I would think he would probably try to just wait it out a little bit, come back, then play, because you can always get surgery and schedule it for March, and you'll be healed in time for when you go to college and enroll in the fall semester, or even for summer school, you heal during that time. So I don't see him staying out. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, he'd be back for the Whataburger tournament, getting it in. And then at Whataburger, the brackets have been released for Whataburger tournament. And Duncanville is in there. They're on the opposite side of the bracket from Richardson. They could meet up in the championship if they meet up, or pending upsets, could meet up in another round. But Richardson took their first L this past weekend, to one of the teams from Arkansas. And so that kind of took some of the fears out of it. But it still has enough left in there, meaning that Duncanville doesn't have anything to gain by beating Richardson, but Richardson has much to gain by beating Duncanville at this point. Speaking of Duncanville, shout out to Ronnie Flores, who's the originator of the Fab 50, which comprises the 50 top high school teams in the country. And they just updated that again late last night. And Duncanville is ranked number 1 in the country. Montverde was number 1 last week. Duncanville jumps up from number 5 to number 1 in the rankings. And yes, they have some Texas teams. I don't know what the record is. I can talk to Ronnie and find out. And remember, once again, Ronnie Flores is one of the guys I had a conversation with and briefly met with last week when I was in Phoenix. Remember, I told him, and these guys, so now after that conversation, that lets me know by him putting Duncanville number 1, which he didn't have to. Could have left him at number 2 and just kept rocking like that. That lets me know that my conversation was well received. It didn't antagonize him. That's how you got to do when you talk to guys, right? You just got to talk to him try to find from a level perch, so you can probably understand the angle from which you are coming from, without creating type of detriment or animosity. So, yes, Nick Smith went off for 30. That's from North Little Rock High School. Went off for 30 against Richardson. They played in Memphis this past weekend. So we're talking basketball, and we're telling you guys about the Duncanville situation. And remember, they've done this stuff in the last week without CJ Ford. So without CJ Ford, which is huge. Yeah, I haven't talked about Beaumont United and Dixon. That's on Friday. So we'll chime in on that on Thursday. Yes, Demetrius, I heard Khalil Ware had a monster double-double in that game against Richardson as well. Khalil Ware, we had him at the NBPA Top 100 camp, and he did nothing but get better every time you saw him during the grassroots season. I mean, it was spectacular how he performed and lived up to every bit of the hype pretty much every time somebody saw him. So he's definitely a hell of a talent. Now, and heard say we're never gonna hear the end of this from the guys from Dallas. I mean, probably, but at the same time, those guys from Dallas, Duncanville's success, you have to use it to channel it over to the success of Texas. If it's success for Texas, then it has an opportunity for it to be the success for Houston. That's the ticket. And if you guys want to, like I said, or that means when you guys that are talking to these guys from around the country, and after you promote your one guy that you're trying to promote, if the same 4 guys, names are being spoken first, and letting it be known and conceding that these 4 are the first in the door. If that can happen, I promise you, it would be easier to get 5, 6, 7 through the door. Easier. But if you're gonna say, man, out of them 4, man, but one of them cool, I got 3 of them that's better than them other 3, then it's going to hinder the entire process. It's going to weight down the block, water down the thought process. And I'm just telling you, for real. I mean, you now the thing is, how do you get to the point to whereas who's the hell in charge of anointing these 4? Well, I mean, I started off. If you got one that could replace one of the 4, then let's talk on the sidebar. You see? Or you can just wait. We can get these 4 in quickly. That's the class of 2024. The class of 2024. And those are 10th graders now. And one thing is, and they don't have to be in no order. It doesn't matter about the order, guys. It doesn't matter about the order. I promise you. Because those 4, if they're said in synchronicity on a consistent basis from various mouthpieces, they're validated quicker. Everybody's going to update their rankings in the winter. So we can get those 4 in. Once we get those 4 in, now let's work on 5, 6, and 7. They can get in by the time the spring icebreaker comes around. You see how this goes? So now you have 7, as many as 7 in the top 100. That's going into the 11th grade. That's a huge number. That's on the top end. That's premium. But here's these 4 that I'm going to give you. There's a kid over at Westfield High School named Zion Pipkin. He's eclipsed the 30-point barrier about 4 times this year. He's more of the way that he scores and the shooting, his body frame. I'm not saying he's good. I'm talking about the way that his game, the way that he plays. It's similar to what L.J. Cryer did, the way that he played as a 10th grader. Remember, this kid is a 10th grader. His body frame is about the same as L.J. Cryer's. The way that he creates space, and he has a good line from the perimeter from shooting out there. Westfield High School, he's about 6'2". Zion Pipkin. Jaquil Registe. Registe. He's about 6'6". He's at Episcopal. He's an athlete. He can cover a lot of ground. He can stretch a lot of defenses. He can get up and above the rim on a repeated level. He can defend. He's versatile. He's too damn good to ignore. What position? I don't know yet. We call him a 3 right now. 3, 4. And go from there. Another young man, Robert Miller III. Robert Miller III, here's the thing. He's 6'9", and he's leading the state in block shots. So if your son was 6'9", if your kinfolk was 6'9", I don't care what grassroots team he played or didn't play on. I don't care who he played against. You got to use that on his resume and roll with it. Now, eventually, if it comes with a disclaimer, then yes, we give a disclaimer. Pasadena Memorial ain't played a bunch of the top teams in the state. Okay. But remember Vince Uhekwachu, who's at Montverde, only played 12 minutes the other day in that loss to Duncanville? He played at a 2A school in San Antonio. Who the hell did they play? You see? He still got the status and the stature. So Robert Miller, he's averaging 9 blocks a game. Well, last week he was. I don't know what the updated stats are. Then we got to average and market that. That's marketable. That's defense. That's defense. And guess what? The offense will come. And so he's 6'9". That ain't gonna change. He's not gonna get no shorter. I guarantee you that. So he's the third of these 4 horsemen. There you go, Barrett. San Antonio Cole. And thanks, Tim Littlefield. That was San Antonio Cole 3A. They won the state championship, if I'm not mistaken, or went to the state finals when Vince was there. The fourth one is last but certainly not least, and that's Chris McDermott. Chris McDermott. He's averaging, I got it in my phone. I want to give you the correct stuff. I'm going to give you guys the correct stuff. Chris McDermott, the assistant coach, sends me the stats after every game, his updated averages. Chris McDermott is averaging 20.6 points a game, 15.6 rebounds a game, 3.6 assists a game, 3.1 steals a game, and 2.4 blocks a game. That's our 4. We can move mountains with that 4. Now, yes, that could be a 5th, but let's get that 4 we know has proven themselves in the way that they're marketed. So that means when it gets to a Chris McDermott, we market in both ends of the floor. A guy that can rebound, a guy that can post up, a guy's good moves on the block, good hands, good feet, nimble, doesn't fall down a lot at all, and can occasionally stretch your butt out to the perimeter and face you up. That's Chris McDermott. They play Yates on Friday night. Booker T does. 7 p.m. at Delmore. Guys. And yes, Landon, that's Shaquille O'Neal's old school San Antonio Cole. Yes. And I'm reading the comment from Herb in case you're on the YouTube. Herb say he likes Robert Miller. Long and bouncy, has a good touch, out past Dark, but he blocks shots and rebounds at a high level. Yeah. And so that's the ticket on that. Those are our 4 from 2024. We take these guys and we market that as a collective city, collective area. And as we market that, then we eyeball and identify who's the next 2 or 3 up. Is it AJ Bates from Seven Lakes? Right? Is it him? You know, they took an L last night. That don't mean he's not. He had like 12, 13 points in the lost to Dawson. I picked Dawson to beat those guys. But is it a Cade Dotson from Beaumont United? He's a starting point guard who runs the show. Pretty much, helps keep everybody happy and keep the floor balanced on that team. Is it Justin Begg? Is it Jacoby Osborne? Is it Jalen Gambrell? We don't know yet. Those guys there have to be able to establish, besides Beaumont United, you win more. And nobody can't afford to ignore you. That's all I tell people. Just keep winning and keep producing. Because when you lose, I'm damn sure paying attention to the losses, who you lose to and how you fared in that loss. Where's your fingerprints on that game in the loss? And that's the thing. Jalen Gambrell, I like him. He's talented, but he has to be more consistent. Put it like this. Even in the losses, when his older brother was at Madison High School, even when they lost, his brother gave you a 25 ball in the 10th grade. You got 20. So that means even in the losses, your fingerprints have to be on those games. That's what we want. Even the loss, the team ain't that good. Yeah. But that means you're likely to be on the floor if you're losing by 20 in the closing minutes of a high school game. You're going to be not playing against that starting five that got up by 20. You're going to be playing against those guys that probably need to be on JV. So you still should be able to make up for what you didn't score against those starters, against those reserves. 14, 16, 17, that ain't going to cut it. That ain't in that next block of guys. We're talking about putting you on a national scale of things. Justin Big, and how to just put he's in the Facebook room, in the Boom Boom Room, guys. For those at YouTube, he probably gonna switch back and forth and communicate with some of you guys in the YouTube as well. But yeah, Justin Big is right there at that door of the next ones in. But the thing is, we get these guys in first. No, their size. 3 of them are 6'6" or taller. The other one, fourth one is 6'2". So that means now we're not trying to, and it's not discriminating over size, but it always helps. You think I'm joking? Go look at any of them national rankings that you want. Pull them, any of them up. ESPN, Rivals, 24/7. Go pull them up and count. Go to your first 50, count how many you see under 6 feet tall. It's not easy to get. It's not easy to get in that top 50 once you get to the 11th grade and you are under 6 foot tall. You know, that's the ticket. That's the ticket. And so also what we have, oh shoot, we almost there. We at the back end, guys. We are at the door. And we got some stuff on, don't forget, on tomorrow, it's the signing date for football. And we're expected to be joined by one of the top quarterbacks in the country, right? And that's Cameron Ward. Cam Ward is from, he put his name in the portal, and where he started at Incarnate Word for the past 2 years. Had 47 touchdowns and over 4,600 yards passing this year. And 24/7 Sports put out the rankings of the top quarterbacks that's in the portal of all FCS colleges. He's number 1 on the recent poll. Young man, we talked about him yesterday, so we get a chance to conversate with him on tomorrow. So get your questions ready. Have some good questions for this young man on tomorrow. He got it out the mud. He really did. And he's just the latest of that talent from down in that Brazoria County area that produced the Bryce Griggs. And before he moved to Hightower after his father, Bubba Griggs, had passed away. But yeah, Rick Brown, 47 touchdowns in one season. Not over his career. That's just this year, 47 touchdowns. Go and think, average that out. If you play 12 games, right, or 10 games, that's like what? That's 4.7 touchdowns a game. And if you watch the highlights, Incarnate Word almost upset Sam Houston, who won the national championship last year. They played in Huntsville. He fell down at like the 1 yard line. The knee went down for him going in the end zone for a win. Yeah. And so that's the ticket in regards to that. But once again, you guys can go and check out rcssports.com. Check out the website. RCS, then the word sports.com. Check out the website. And if you check out the website, you make sure you go into the VIP news. That's the last thing I want to tap you guys with on the day before we get up out of here. In that VIP news is something very special in there, because today is Tuesday. And that is the how do you say it? The college freshman report. That means every freshman from the greater Houston area who's on a Division I roster, their statistics from this season is posted and updated every Tuesday. And there are 34 freshmen. Now that includes red shirts, and it also includes walk-ons, right? So give you the disclaimer. It includes red shirts. It includes walk-ons. And a lot of kids' names on there were stars at their high schools, right? But then college is a different game. And what it does, it shows the reality of just, if you thought some of these guys were very good when they were in high school, and now a year or so later, they're a freshman in college, and they're not able to even get off the bench. That lets you know just how hard it is. At the same time, there are a lot of guys that's on these benches that some of you guys may have projected wasn't going to play when they got to respective schools. And then what happens is people goes, oh, you a hater because you project that. Guys, tell me something. When you go get your car evaluated and the person tell you, you go to Discount Tire, and they say, these tires, you need some new tires. These tires ain't gonna make it. They ain't gonna make it. You ain't got about 100 more miles on these tires. And you like, man, I just got these tires 2 months ago, man. Them tires good. Sir, you need new. I suggest you get new tire on. You need it on the front right. This one here's going in. The other one is wearing off. We put the thing in there that says a 2 or whatnot. Guess what? That guy's not a hater. Go to the auto mechanic. He tell you that your car, you need to get new heads. He's not a hater. He's a professional who evaluated your vehicle. Professional at what he does and evaluated your vehicle. Sometimes you go get a second opinion. Or sometimes you say, man, you know what? Go ahead on, just fix it. Well, in this case, in basketball, no matter how long the person has been doing their job, if they say that your son is not Division I or Division I prospect, why is he automatically a hater? Why is he automatically a hater? That I don't understand. No matter how long this guy has been at his craft. Now he's evaluated hundreds possibly of Division I talent, and he labels your son as not a Division I prospect right now. Right? Why is he a hater? Guess what? And there's going to be some guys that are going to prove people wrong. Some people get better. But at the same time, this stuff here, it sorts itself out. I'm looking at some players right now on this thing. Give a shout out. Aaron Scott went to Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences. He's at North Texas, and he's often, I think, in the starting lineup, but he's playing. He's finishing if he's not starting. 14.8 minutes a game for Aaron Scott. That means you went to the right school. Now, that don't mean that you're going to grow up in minutes every season. You better work. They're looking to get better. How about Brock McClure? He's a kid from Lumberton High School. Lumberton High School. Alvin Brooks is the head coach at Lamar University, where this young man is. He's averaging 15.6 minutes a game. He went to the perfect situation to give him some playing time. Brian Miles, also from Legacy, the School of Sports Science, he's at Prairie View. He's averaging 10.7 minutes a game. 10 minutes or more, really and truly, if you're averaging 8 minutes or more as a freshman, that's solid. That's a TV timeout to TV timeout every half. That's enough time to get your jersey sweaty. Really. But I'm starting with this bell curve is at the 10-minute threshold. 10 minutes. or more that you're averaging. Chooks Isatua from Jack Yates High School. He's at IUPUI. He's averaging 16 minutes a game, which is solid. Solid. Good, he picked the right school. Drew Calderon is a transfer. He's at Austin P, right? 15.9 minutes a game. I think he had committed to another school at first and then ended up at Austin P. 15.9 minutes a game. Nobody saw that coming. Jonathan Massey, another kid from Legacy to School of Sports Science, 20.9 minutes a game at McNeese State. So that's 3 players from Legacy to School of Sports Science that are playing, averaging 10 minutes plus a game as freshmen. They had 6 that signed Division I scholarships. They claimed 7 went to schools. One of those did not sign a scholarship, a letter of intent. Sorry about that. One of them did not. And they missed, but 6 is a great number. That's a strong class from a school. Understand, many of those guys, all except one, well, hell, all of them probably had those offers on the table before basketball season started with that school in their 12th grade years. But yes, each is all. I mean, it is what it is. Props, Legacy to School of Sports Sciences. Now we're talking about freshmen who are averaging from the area at Division I schools who are averaging 10 minutes or more a game. 10 minutes or more a game. That's the most important stat for a parent, is the minutes per game. And Caleb Stewart from Atascocita, 13.9 minutes per game. He's at Louisiana Tech. Good numbers for him. So guess what? That's all that's averaging double-digit minutes. That's it. From out of 34 players, 7 out of 34 that's averaging double-digit minutes per game. You know? And some of you guys, you think you got this stuff mapped out. A lot of guys, their families made the sacrifice of moving from Houston and moving to a whole different state. Like, remember Damari Williams? Damari Williams was going to go to, Katie Tompkins, but boy, they could have used him this year. Right? He went to the prep school in Arizona, and Arizona State promised them, hey, you come here, go to this prep school, we'll take you in the class, we'll take you as a freshman, we got a scholarship for you, he signed the letter of intent. He's a freshman at Arizona State, going to get redshirted. And guess what? That's perfectly fine, because redshirt means normally that they like you. But I don't think that they knew that was part of the plan. Otherwise, they probably would have went and played 1 year of JUCO and still got to play, and then come on in as a if they would have still honored it. You know? So that's the thing. You know, Brian Gordon, he was at Shadow Creek High School last year, defender, didn't have no Division I offers. No Division I offers a year ago. And I'm talking about that with guys, man, this kid is a Division I. He's a Division I. He can go and he can play. They coach is missing out. Or how did you say it? They sleeping. He hasn't touched the floor in no games this season at Lamar. Brian Gordon. Now that don't mean he's not Division I. That means that there could have been schools that he could have went and played at that might not have been Division I. Could have played or could have went to the JUCO route. I doubt he was going to go to JUCO route because he came from a private school before going to Shadow Creek. And you invest your time and efforts in a private school, most of those kids are not going to go to JUCO. It is what it is. But his highlights that if you're gonna market him and you put a portfolio together, you don't get much game film when you're getting redshirted. So that means they got to rely on word of mouth and possibly your high school footage. That's what they got to rely on. And yeah, Lamar has a lot of injuries this season as well. So think about it. So, but at the same time, I'll go to my phone. I remember a few guys hit me, man. Brian Gordon, man, you got him way too low, man. He Division I. So now it's time to start holding some of you guys' ass accountable. So I'm not getting on the kids. So I'm letting you know the kids, their situation, they're in college now. Letting you know those are facts. That's not my opinion. You're not playing any minutes right now per game. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. So, oh man, Hicks ripping you up. I'm not ripping no kid up right now. These are kids in college. I'm giving you their statistics. So if I'm ripping you up, then the sports information department at your college is ripping your ass up. My thing is, these are teachable moments for other people to look at and pay attention. That way you'll know. If you thought Brian Gordon was very good, he was defense first, and I really thought he was good. I know he's good. But good enough to move the needle going into Lamar University, then that means you have to reevaluate your eyeball. Because you got this one wrong. That's what that means. You got it wrong for right now. Because you wasn't selling him or you wasn't advertising. Think about this. When the last time somebody called you and say, hey man, this kid right here, he'll be a good ass red shirt for next year at this Division I. He Division I, but he'll be a good red shirt. Think about that. When the last time somebody said that to you? Nobody don't even talk like that. They're not even thinking. Very few are thinking or buying into the red shirt before they sign the letter of intent. Very few, just a fragment of those. You know why? Everybody think they're going in to play. Simply because the college coach told you when you sit on your divan, that's called a couch in other parts of the country, or your sofa, that you will have an opportunity to play. That's the key word. And you didn't hear the word opportunity. You heard they will. You phased out. You heard play. You know? And so I'm looking at the list. And a lot of guys, got zeros. Far too many. If some of those guys had zeros, had to do it all over again, I guarantee they'll be playing at JUCO right now, or they would have went somewhere else. Then some of you, if that was your only Division I offer, and you're not playing, or you're not playing at all, or minimal, very minimal, then you're probably not a Division I player. That's a red flag. That's the sign that a reality that hits you in the face. I'm not trying to be the Grinch. I'm not trying to steal your Christmas. I'm just trying to keep it real because most people will not when it come to this stuff. Most people will not. Most will not. Most will tell you what they think you want to hear. So there you have it on that part, guys. Make sure you go into the website, the VIP news on rcssports.com, and you need to go and get in that room and check out that list and a lot more. We got a whole slew of stuff in that room for you. And it's about that time now. I went in a little overtime section. I gave you guys the gap. And yes, I see the post on there. OJ Simpson is off parole and in Nevada. So it's going to be interesting situation. The juice is now on the loose for as him. We might need to get juice on the chop shop. And that's pretty much as I look down there, guys. And Kenneth Lofton, shout out to you, man. Congratulations on everything regarding to Junior Lofton at Louisiana Tech. He says all eggs don't hatch on the same day. These kids that's been sitting better be working because somebody else is coming that next year. And that's if more. So sometimes the music sounds sweeter coming from a different set of speakers. Remember that. Sometimes the music sounds sweeter coming from a different set of speakers. And what I mean by that is if more parents of collegiate student athletes would reach back into the DMs or let some of these other parents know if you need to talk or if you have questions, get at me. If more of you guys and gals would open up your hearts to help conversate with some of those other people, then it may be able to help. Because understand something, many of them have been led to believe already that guys like me don't know what we're talking about. So if you've already been led to believe that, that means when you hear me say it, it's going to come with a grain of salt. You're going to put it through your sifter as though you're making some spaghetti. And guess what? Charges and consequences. That's why all hands on deck when it comes to each one teaching one about the rigors and the muddy waters and a lot of the expectations and a lot of the truthness that goes on into the recruiting. Picking these schools ain't easy. Picking a Division I school damn sure ain't easy. It's a reason they bring most in basketball. It's a great reason they bring you on campus for official visits during the football weekends. Big reason. Home games. It's a big reason. That's the part of the diversion. It's part of the diversion. They don't make many do official visits during summer school when the campus is dead. It's a reason. So I'm asking for more of you to call upon and reach down, and more of you to reach up on more of these parents you see and ask them for advice. Ask them for their help. Ask them who helped them. Right? Ask questions, bottom line. That's the key. Otherwise, you think your baby gonna play next year. That stuff ain't fun, going up and down that highway, spending all that time and all that money, only to serve as your son's therapist. That's basically what you're doing. After the game, he's moping. You got to go and put his head on his shoulder. Oh, baby, it's going to be all right. What you want? You want some ice cream? You want some cakes? I'm going to get you what you want. You know, you got to play therapist. And then you feel helpless because that same coach who smiled every time you saw him just a year ago, damn near walk right past you sometime when your kids, freshmen, ain't playing. Oh, hey, Miss Johnson. And keep on going. You all right, everybody? All right? Okay, good seeing you. Gone. Then you start to feel helpless because now you feel like your son, you're in a situation where you can't, these coaches, they don't even call you back that much no more. You're embarrassed to tell people because you don't think that nothing can be done about it. You call him one time, you don't know because you call the coach gonna take it out on the kid. Every time you call that coach, the kid gonna run some more laps. Don't let him know, man, you better tell your mama don't call, your mama calling me, she need to call you. she worried about you, she need to call you. It gets rogue in some situations and real. But if you don't have the communication bridge established with a lot of different people in your area or in your circumference, then guess what? You're going to. It's hard to ride this stuff on your own. It's hard, really hard, especially if you're a single parent. Especially. Add 2, 3 more especiallys on there if you're a single parent mom. Oh my God. Most moms that made it have you see a huge support system, a nest for most moms. Whether it be family, whether it be friends, or whether it be family and friends, you're going to see the support system for that mom of the very talented player that makes it through the game and makes it to the pro ranks where they can get paid on their own terms. On their own terms. That's the key. Look at Tricia Griggs. You can see big support system. They made it. They went pro on their terms. On their terms. That's not the NBA. That was a option for high school where his son is getting paid. He's a professional. And he's, on her terms. You see a big support system. That's what you see alike. And so that's the ticket, guys. I want to give you some thoughts on that stuff. And hopefully this stuff can stick. Hopefully it can stick. And I'm looking in the YouTube feed, guys, and Keith Wood was talking back about, I'm assuming he's talking about Gordon. He said if Alvin Brooks offered him, he must have felt he could play there. Probably. But guess what happens? He also ended up getting another kid, young man, C.J. Roberts, who had played at 2 or 3 different Division I schools, went to like 5 schools, 4 different transfers, and now C.J. Roberts came in. And he got him late after signing Brian Gordon. So C.J. Roberts, and then obviously the kid from Lumberton who's playing 15.9 minutes a game, obviously he's doing something that nobody thought was going to do because he's the kid that the previous coach, Tick Price, had accepted a commitment from. Alvin Brooks didn't sign the kid from Lumberton. You know what I'm saying? So think on that now. So a lot of these guys, when Alvin Brooks came into the job, had already been signed. Brian Gordon had already been signed. Tick Price. You follow me? So that's the reason Keith Wood, you got to understand that. Alvin Brooks just got in there. Remember, Alvin Brooks was at U of H at the Final Four on the bench. He didn't get the job. All these guys were signed. C.J. Roberts is one he brought in, and Alvin Brooks convinced the point guard from Beaumont Central to come back. He had he had put himself in the portal and was going to Louisiana Tech. You guys help me. I can't think of his name. Kaysen Harrison. Alvin Brooks convinced him. So technically, he got Kaysen Harrison. Right? And I'm looking at reading the comments, and Melvin Dew said, you remember the show when I said it was smart McClure signed early in COVID season? Absolutely. Brock McClure. I said it on here. It was very smart. Guess what? Guys, we can go on and on all day about that. You guys get that. That's enough for today. And yes, the magazine. If you haven't done so, go out and get your copy of this, man. This thing right here is very, very good. Guys, right here, it even opens up with the district schedules. Look, district schedules. I got games highlighted all through here. This thing, good paper, articles, team rankings, player district previews, player rankings, scholarship section, free money. You guys understand? Get your copy of this magazine. And of course, this college section towards the back. Not to mention a section that has pretty much every skill developmental trainer in the area with their phone contact info and a little brief description of what of the services they offer or in the back of the magazine. This thing is good. Get your copy today. Locations are listed on the front of rcssports.com. That's rcssports.com. You can get your location of where you can pick one up, or you can look on that same thing on the front of the website, and it has the intel on how you can get one mailed to your doorstep. We will mail them to your doorstep, and that's the magazines. So go and check it out right now. Meanwhile, we will get the Goree Allen, man. Shout out to Goree Allen, Booker T. Washington. I figured you guys from Booker T. Washington come on out the woodworks since the team been winning. And they play Yates on Friday at 7 p.m. at Delmar. I know all the ex-Booker T. War Eagles. They coming out of all of a sudden now you coming to the games now. I'm just joking with you, but I know I'm gonna see you in the building at one of them Booker T games really soon because they have a product that is worth you coming out to see. That's for certain. But anyway, guys, it's time to get up on out of here and yabba dabba do this thing. Slide down Dino's back on this Tuesday. Don't forget, we have the #1 rated quarterback in the country joining us live on the Chop Shop tomorrow on the back line, 1 p.m. Central Time. That's going to be a cool conversation. I want you guys to make sure you're asking questions. Remember, he had no offers. And then Incarnate Word came along. And one of the reasons he's leaving is that the Incarnate Word head coach accepted another job. So he's going. So the young man is like, I'm going to take my talents and go and play in one of these Power 5 conferences, possibly. That's what it sounds like. And Marlon Bendy, we have magazines down in the Silsbee, Beaumont area. Look on the website, RCS Sports, and you see the locations. Doug Jones will be in Silsbee's building tonight for your game against Lufkin. He will have copies. If guys want to get yourself a copy, I'm telling you, it's worth it. And that's pretty much it, guys. We up out here. I'll see you guys on tomorrow, Women Rock Wednesday. Thanks so much. Make sure you share the show on the way out the door. If I can get you to do that, that'll be a great thing. Just share that show on the way out the door. Thanks so much, guys. Peace. I'm up out of here. Chop shop.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro, let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it facts